In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on November 9th, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Utah Jazz versus San Antonio Spurs. A clash in the NBA's Western Conference is set for Saturday evening as the Utah Jazz face off against the San Antonio Spurs. This will be the second meeting between these two teams this season, following a Halloween matchup where the Spurs secured a commanding 18-point victory on the road. Both teams enter Saturday's game with a day of rest, as they last played on Thursday. The Jazz had a tough road game in Milwaukee, suffering a 123-100 loss to the Bucks while failing to cover the 9.5-point spread as underdogs. Meanwhile, the Spurs were at home against the Portland Trail Blazers, where they claimed a 118-105 win and comfortably covered the 4.5-point spread as favorites. The Jazz are dealing with potential roster challenges, with rookie Keon George listed as questionable, which could further strain their lineup. On the other side, the Spurs have ruled out Devin Vassell for the second game in a row, and Malaki Branham's status remains questionable. Utah's season has been rocky from the start, with the team struggling to find consistency, especially on offense. Their record of 1-7 reflects their struggles, as they currently sit at the bottom of the league in several offensive metrics. With an offensive rating of 102.6, they trail even the 29th-ranked Orlando Magic by nearly 5 points. Star player Lauri Markkanen has also underperformed, averaging only 16 points per game, a noticeable dip from his usual output. In the recent Milwaukee game, he managed just 8 points in a lopsided 23-point defeat. The Spurs, although currently without head coach Greg Popovich, have a chance to build momentum against a lighter schedule and potentially rise above a .500 record. They recently secured their third home victory in 4 games by defeating Portland 118-105, showing signs of improvement over last season. While rookie sensation Victor Wembanyama has encountered a few challenges, the team has shown overall growth, particularly in their defensive approach. They've improved from last season's ranking of 28th in opponent points in the paint to leading the NBA in this category. With a 3-1 record at home, the Spurs have been a solid team on their own court, while the Jazz are struggling to even reach 100 points in most games. Given their dominant performance in their previous 106-88 victory over Utah, the Spurs look likely to extend their series lead to 2-0, so the Utah Jazz to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Despite the trend of high-scoring games across the league, the Jazz and Spurs are bucking that trend. Currently, 47 NBA players average 18 or more points per game, yet neither team has a player reaching that mark. Wembanyama leads the Spurs with 18 points per game, while Markkanen leads the Jazz with 16. A 30-point outburst, often seen in today's high-paced NBA, appears unlikely from either side. San Antonio's slow tempo ranks them 29th in possessions per game, a strategic choice to emphasize half-court sets where Chris Paul's playmaking skills, pick-and-roll tactics, and precision passing come into play. This slower style also allows Wembanyama to influence the game on each possession, particularly on defense. Wembanyama currently leads the NBA with an impressive 3.7 blocks per game, while the Jazz's Walker Kessler is close behind, ranking second with 3 blocks per game and adding a robust 11.4 rebounds per game, giving Utah a reliable defensive presence in the paint. In their previous matchup, these teams combined for just 194 points, falling well below the current game's total line of 220 points. Both teams rank in the league's bottom third in possessions per game, with Utah at 21st and San Antonio at 29th, which indicates a slower pace that limits scoring opportunities. Thursday's 118-point game was the highest scoring output for the Spurs this season, and they've scored under 110 points in 7 of their 9 games. The Jazz have also struggled offensively, scoring 100 points or fewer in 4 of their last 5 games. Historically, low-scoring games have been common between these teams, as the under has hit in 6 of their last 10 meetings. Considering the lack of high scores and the presence of strong defensive centers, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Brooklyn Nets versus Cleveland Cavaliers. The Brooklyn Nets are set to visit the Cleveland Cavaliers this Saturday at Rocket Mortgage Field House. Brooklyn enters the game with an overall record of 4-4 straight up, 6-2 against the spread, and an even 4-4 in over-under results. They recently faced the Boston Celtics on Friday night, adding another game to their challenging early season schedule. So far, the Nets have played 3 road games, coming away with a 1-2 straight up record, but a stronger 2-1 against the spread performance on the road. The Cleveland Cavaliers, on the other hand, boast an impressive 9-0 straight-up record, with an 8-1 mark against the spread and a 6-3 record in over-under outcomes. They are coming off a tough matchup against the Golden State Warriors on Friday, showing that they can compete with some of the league's top teams. At home, the Cavaliers have been especially dominant, holding a 4-0 straight-up record and going 3-1 against the spread. Last season, Cleveland took 3 out of 4 games against the Nets, covering the spread in 2 of those contests. In their last 10 matchups overall, Cleveland is 6-4 straight up and 5-5 against the spread when facing Brooklyn. As far as injuries are concerned, the Nets continue to play without Bojan Bogdanovic and Trendon Watford, while the Cavaliers have again ruled out Max Strus. Although the Cavaliers are currently enjoying a remarkable 10-0 start, this matchup could potentially be a trap game for them. They may not be as intensely focused following their highly anticipated game against the Warriors the night before. As for the Nets, they might be an underdog here but could be motivated after taking Boston to overtime on Friday, eventually falling in a close 108-104 game. Brooklyn was listed as a hefty 13.5-point underdog in that matchup, which is nearly identical to the line set for this game against Cleveland. The Cavaliers have been playing at a high level, and they could very well dominate yet another opponent. However, betting against Cleveland at this stage feels risky. Brooklyn's record may not reflect much success in the win column, but they've been excellent against the spread with a 7-2 record. Given that Cleveland is coming off a big win against the Warriors, there is a real possibility they might not maintain the same intensity. Every team, no matter how strong, is bound to slip up at some point, right? With that in mind, the Brooklyn Nets to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Brooklyn should be able to capitalize on Cleveland's somewhat weak perimeter defense by hitting a respectable share of 3-point shots, which could draw the Cavaliers' defenders away from the paint, an area where Cleveland is particularly difficult to score against. The Nets have shown they can keep up if they're hitting shots from beyond the arc, and they rank within the top 10 in mid-range field goal percentage, suggesting they're a team capable of scoring efficiently from multiple zones. Given the Cavaliers' strong interior defense led by Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, it's likely Brooklyn will rely on mid-range and outside shots to find success in this matchup. Cleveland brings an up-tempo style to the game, ranking 11th in the NBA in pace at 100.9 possessions per 48 minutes. Their strategy will likely be to attack the Nets inside, seeking high-percentage shots at the rim and frequent trips to the free throw line. Cleveland currently leads the NBA in non-block 2-point shooting percentage, while Brooklyn ranks second in this category, indicating that both teams should be able to find quality scoring opportunities from inside the arc. Offensively, Cleveland has been one of the league's best, currently topping the charts with an impressive 121 points per 100 possessions. Brooklyn, though not as dominant, is also effective, ranking in the top half of the league with 111 points per 100 possessions. When it comes to pace, both teams are averaging over 100 possessions per game. Cleveland ranks 8th with 102.7 possessions per game, while Brooklyn sits at 19th with 100.5 possessions per game. Playing on the second night of a back-to-back, both teams might see a decline in defensive energy and focus, which could lead to higher scoring. We believe both teams have the potential to score in the 110s, making over the projected total our full game total pick. Chicago Bulls versus Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks are set to host the Chicago Bulls for an Eastern Conference showdown on Saturday, November 9th. Currently, the Hawks hold a 4-6 record and appeared to find some stability after defeating the New York Knicks on Wednesday. However, they suffered a tough loss to the Detroit Pistons on Friday night, which may have disrupted any momentum they had hoped to build. On the other hand, the Bulls come into this game with a 3-6 record and are grappling with a 4-game losing streak that has dampened their early season hopes. For this matchup, the Bulls are still missing key player Lonzo Ball, and star Zach LaVine is listed as questionable due to lingering issues. The Hawks also face their share of roster challenges, with Bogdan Bogdanovic, Cody Zeller, and Seth Lundy, among others, ruled out of action. Given these absences, it's difficult to place any strong confidence in either team's chances right now. However, the Hawks will be playing their second game in as many nights after a disappointing loss to the Pistons, whereas the Bulls showed competitive form despite their loss to the the informed Timberwolves on Thursday, so the Chicago Bulls to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Defensive performance has been a weak point for both teams throughout the season. The Hawks currently rank last in the league at defending the three-point line, while the Bulls have allowed the fourth most points in the league. These defensive issues suggest that the game on Saturday could be high-scoring. The Bulls are ranked 17th in terms of pace of play, while Atlanta has embraced a faster style, ranking as the third fastest team in the NBA. Playing the second night of a back-to-back, the Hawks bring the 28th ranked scoring defense in the league, and the Bulls have struggled on that end as well, having given up 135 points in 2 of their last 4 games. Chicago ranks 25th in scoring defense, underscoring their vulnerability. Adding to the likelihood of a high-scoring game, both teams play at a rapid pace, with the Hawks currently 3rd in the NBA in pace, while the Bulls are ranked 1st. Additionally, both teams are prone to turnovers, which could further accelerate the game's tempo. Given the defensive struggles and high-paced style both teams favor, it's reasonable to expect minimal defensive effort on Saturday night in Atlanta. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Toronto Raptors versus Los Angeles Clippers. The Toronto Raptors are set to face off against the Los Angeles Clippers in the 3rd game of a challenging 5-game road trip. The Raptors have struggled on the road thus far, beginning this series with 2 consecutive losses, first to the Denver Nuggets and then, more recently, to the Sacramento Kings. Currently, Toronto holds an 0-4 record in away games this season, indicating their difficulties in finding success outside of home court. On the other hand, the Clippers enter this matchup with some momentum, having extended their winning streak to 3 games after a solid victory over the Sacramento Kings on Friday night. The Los Angeles Clippers played last night, defeating the Sacramento Kings in front of a home crowd. Tonight, they will be hosting the Toronto Raptors for what marks their 3rd back-to-back game of the season. Notably, their prior back-to-back games have seen them barely scrape by, with a points differential of just +1 across those outings. This limited margin suggests that the Clippers may once again find themselves in a tightly contested game against Toronto. Adding to the excitement, the Raptors could see a boost from Emmanuel Quickley, who rejoined team practice on Friday and may be available for tonight's game. His presence would likely help energize an offense that will still be missing Scotty Barnes, sidelined for several more weeks due to injury. Scoring-wise, the Clippers have not been a high-powered team this season, as they currently rank only 21st in the NBA in offensive rating. In contrast, the Raptors have been stronger on offense, sitting at 13th in the league. Defensively, Toronto can rely on Davion Mitchell, a capable on-ball defender whose tenacity may force Clippers guard James Harden to pass the ball more frequently. With no other player on the Clippers averaging over 3 assists per game, this defensive pressure could stifle their offensive rhythm. Additionally, the Clippers have struggled with turnovers, ranking 29th in the league for this statistic, trailing only the Utah Jazz in turnover frequency. Facing a Toronto team that ranks 6th in steals, the Clippers may find it difficult to generate clean offensive looks. Despite home court advantage, the Clippers may find this back-to-back situation challenging, especially while managing a number of player injuries. The Raptors have had their share of injury issues as well and have struggled to notch victories, but they boast an impressive record of 7-2 against the spread this season. In fact, the Raptors have covered the spread in 8 of their last 10 games overall, so the Toronto Raptors to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. When it comes to the total points line, Toronto has leaned toward high-scoring games this season, with 7 of their 9 games hitting the over as of Friday night. The Raptors have been turnover-prone, averaging 16.8 turnovers per game, which places them 27th in the league. However, they play at a relatively fast pace, ranking 8th with an average of 100.7 possessions per game. Meanwhile, the Clippers have trended toward lower-scoring games, staying under the total in 5 of their 8 games heading into Friday night. Los Angeles has also struggled with turnovers, ranking 29th with 17.1 per game, and their tempo is among the league's slowest, sitting at 28th with 96.7 possessions per game. These high turnover rates for both teams could create plenty of transition opportunities, potentially driving up the score, making over the projected total our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.